I was standing under the oak trees at Riverbend Park, watching my best friend marry the man I used to call my soulmate. Strange, isn't it? How life can twist in ways you could never script. They looked beautiful together, the perfect couple, and everyone around us clapped like they were watching a fairy tale. But me? I felt my heart fold in on itself, quiet and tight, like it was trying to hide from the truth. Do you think you've known betrayal? Try watching your best friend slip on the ring that was meant for you, while smiling at you as if she's done nothing wrong. This is the story of how I lost everything I thought I knew, and how I built something stronger from the ruins. My name is Myra Ellis, and this is what really happened in Riverbend. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you listening from tonight? And if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Your support helps us bring more real-life stories of love, loss, and rebirth. All right, let's go back 6 months before that wedding, before everything fell apart. At that time, I thought my life was finally settling down. I had a stable job as a school counselor, a cozy apartment near downtown, and a fiancé who made me laugh until my stomach hurt. Eli was gentle, funny, and full of dreams. He'd bring me flowers on random Tuesdays, cook pasta with too much garlic, and dance with me in our tiny kitchen like we were the only 2 people in the world. And then there was Sienna, my best friend since college, bright, spontaneous, and magnetic. The kind of woman who turned heads when she walked into a room and made everyone feel like they'd known her forever. We were opposites, but it worked. Or at least, it used to. The shift started small. Sienna started showing up at my place unannounced, always when Eli was around. "Oh, I was just passing by," as she'd say, laughing. I thought nothing of it. She was my best friend, and he was my fiancé. Why would I ever question that? Then Eli's laughter started to sound different when she was in the room. Fuller, warmer, like he was letting her see a version of himself I didn't get anymore. When we watched movies, she'd join us on the couch, sitting just a little too close. I told myself I was imagining it. That's what you do when the truth feels too heavy to hold. You pretend it's not there. But pretending doesn't stop the storm. It just delays the thunder. It was a Saturday afternoon when the first real crack appeared. Eli had promised to take me hiking, something we used to love doing together. But that morning, he came into the kitchen, hair still damp from the shower, and said, "Rain's coming, babe. Let's reschedule." I glanced out the window, clear skies. Not a single cloud. He spent the day catching up on work. His phone buzzed twice. He smiled both times but didn't tell me who it was. I laughed it off, made coffee, tried to focus on the small things. But my gut had already started whispering. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something was off, and no matter how much I tried to talk myself out of it, the feeling just wouldn't go away. At around midnight, I went to get a glass of water, and that's when I saw the glow of his phone on the couch. Unlocked. The universe had finally stopped protecting my ignorance. I picked it up. My hands were shaking. But curiosity is stronger than fear when you already know what you're about to find. The messages weren't even hidden under a fake name. Just Sienna. The first one read, "I can't stop thinking about last night." The next, "You make me forget everything." And then Eli's reply, "We just have to be careful. Myra doesn't suspect a thing." My vision blurred. I didn't even realize I dropped the glass until it shattered on the floor. Eli came running out of the bedroom, half asleep. "Myra, what happened?" I couldn't speak. I just handed him the phone. His eyes widened for a second. Then, Calm. Too calm. Babe, it's not what it looks like, he said. And you know, I almost laughed. Because what could it possibly be besides what it looked like? Two people I loved, planning their secret romance right under my nose. I walked past him, into the night air, barefoot. The cold pavement grounded me, like I needed proof that I was still real when everything else had just turned into smoke. That was the night Meyer Ellis died, the version who believed love was enough, who believed loyalty was forever. But the woman who woke up the next morning? She was different. Still heartbroken, yes, but underneath the grief was something else. Something sharp, deliberate, and quiet. The kind of calm that only comes before a storm. I didn't confront Sienna right away. Instead, I played the part, the forgiving fiancé, the trusting best friend. Because if they could act, so could I. Sometimes silence is the most dangerous weapon you have. Over the next few weeks, I watched them. Every work meeting Eli had, every sudden errand Sienna ran. I started keeping notes, dates, times, little patterns. And as I filled that notebook, I realized something that made my blood run cold. They weren't just having an affair. They were planning to leave, together. Sienna had gotten a job offer out of state. Eli had secretly applied for a transfer at his company, in the exact same city. Their start dates? The week after my wedding was supposed to happen. That's when I stopped crying. Because heartbreak hurts. But betrayal? Betrayal ignites something you can't put out. After that night, I stopped being the heartbroken fiancé. I became the quiet observer, the woman behind the curtain. Every smile I gave, every kind word I spoke, all of it was strategy. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's precise. It's patient. You see, Sienna and Eli thought they were clever. They thought they could use me as their bridge, until they were ready to run off together. But what they didn't realize was that I knew how to listen, and how to wait. The first step was simple. I called off the wedding. Calmly. Gracefully. I told everyone that Eli and I needed space. He looked shocked, maybe even relieved. He didn't know that I'd already contacted the venue, the caterer, and the photographer, all in my name, all fully refundable. While he thought I was falling apart, I was quietly taking everything back. The second step? I froze the joint account we had opened for the honeymoon. The one he had convinced me to put in his name too, for convenience. Well, convenience turned into a trap, for him. When he tried to withdraw the money 2 days later, the bank called me first. I told them to keep the account locked until further notice. That's when he started to panic. The third step was the hardest. I had to face Sienna. I met her for coffee, smiling like my world hadn't just caught fire. She was glowing, cheeks flushed, hair perfect, like someone in love. She said, "You're taking the breakup really well. I'm proud of you." I wanted to throw the cup at her. Instead, I leaned back and said, "A funny thing about people who lie, they always leave fingerprints." She blinked. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Oh, nothing," I said, stirring my drink. "Just that Eli's been talking a lot lately. He's not as discreet as you think." And just like that, the smile slipped. Because snakes don't panic unless you've stepped on their tail. I left that cafe feeling lighter. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't peace. It was power, the kind I'd forgotten I had. 2 weeks later, I got an email from Eli's company, by mistake. A digital contract confirming his new position in Denver. The start date matched the job offer Sienna had been bragging about online. So I forwarded it, not to him, not to her, but to the HR department at her new job. Subject line: a conflict of interest. Please verify. See, Sienna's company had strict rules about employee relationships, especially when relocation packages were involved. Within 3 days, her offer was suspended for review. And just like that, the future they'd built on my heartbreak started to crumble. But I wasn't finished. Oh no. I wanted them to feel the humiliation they'd served me, but in public, under bright lights, with no place to hide. So when my mutual friends asked why the wedding was cancelled, I told the truth. Not with anger. Not with tears. Just facts. Eli and Sienna fell in love, I'd say, calm and steady. And apparently, they forgot to tell me. The silence after that sentence was louder than any scream I could have made. Rumors spread fast. By the end of the week, they weren't a love story, they were gossip. A scandal. And Karma had officially clocked in for work. Sienna stopped posting online. Eli started showing up at my apartment, begging to talk. But I didn't answer the door. I didn't need to. I'd already won the only battle that mattered, the one for my self-respect. The day I mailed back my engagement ring, I included a note that said, "Thank you for teaching me that love without honesty is just performance. Break a leg out there." The thing about betrayal is, it always circles back. Maybe not right away, but eventually, truth has a way of finding a microphone. And when it does, it doesn't whisper. It shouts. By the end of that month, Eli and Sienna were trying to make their relationship public. Photos, dinner dates, soft captions like a "sometimes the heart knows what it wants." I could have ignored it, but I didn't. Not this time. Remember that HR email? Turns out, Sienna's new company didn't take kindly to her involvement with an employee from a partner firm. Conflict of interest, they called it. She lost the offer before her first day. And Eli? His boss found out he'd been using company time to plan personal trips. Goodbye promotion. Goodbye job. They tried to blame me, of course. But how could I be responsible for consequences they'd written themselves? I didn't hack, lie, or steal. I just opened the curtains and let the world see what was already there. That's the thing about karma. You don't have to chase it. You just have to stop protecting the people it's coming for. Weeks turned into months. Eli moved out of our old apartment, leaving behind a few shirts and a cracked coffee mug. Sienna vanished from social media completely. And me? I started sleeping again. Really sleeping. The kind where your chest feels light, your body unclenches, and your dreams stop replaying pain on loop. Then one day, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. It was Sienna. She wrote, "Meyer, please. Can we talk? You have every right to hate me. But I'm not doing well." For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I remembered the laughter, the lies, the nights she must have looked me in the eyes while planning her escape with him. So I typed one sentence back. "I hope you find the peace you tried to steal from me." And that was the last time I ever heard from her. You see, healing doesn't always look like forgiveness. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like a woman who stopped explaining herself to people who betrayed her. And sometimes it looks like moving on. A year later, I moved to a small coastal town, quiet, full of sunlight and space to breathe. I took a counseling position at a community center, helping women rebuild after heartbreak, loss, and life's curveballs. Funny how pain can become purpose when you stop running from it. One afternoon, I walked by a wedding at the local beach. The bride was laughing, the groom's hand steady in hers. And for the first time in forever, I didn't feel bitterness or envy. I just smiled. Because I finally understood. Love isn't about who stays. It's about who doesn't break you when they do. Eli and Sienna. Last I heard, they didn't last 6 months. Without the thrill of the secret, they had nothing left to hold on to. He moved back to his parents' place in Ohio. Well, rumor says she's still trying to find herself. Maybe she will. Maybe she won't. Either way, that's not my story anymore. My story is about rebuilding. About the woman who refused to stay broken just because someone else was careless with her heart. And every morning I wake up, open my windows, and feel that ocean breeze, I whisper a quiet truth to myself. I didn't lose them. I released them. So if you're listening right now and your heart's been broken, remember this. Pain doesn't mean you're weak. It means you cared deeply. It means you were real. And one day, when you've healed, you'll realize that the storm that tried to drown you actually taught you how to breathe underwater. My name is Meyer Ellis. And this is my story. Not of revenge, but of rebirth. If you made it this far, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. And if this story touched you, subscribe, because there are more real stories of survival and strength coming your way. Thank you for listening. Until next time, with love, with peace, and with power.